Hey guys, this is a little bit different video. I'm going to do this straight from my phone. No editing, no nothing. I wanted to tell you a little story, and then I wanted to ask the lawn care guys that follow me, namely Danny Lanier, Big Sons, New Hope Cuts, Bowman Homestead, you guys. I got a new customer this year. He's an 89-year-old gentleman, and the first time we did his yard, it was basically a cleanup. And we spent probably 3.5 hours on that property and got it somewhat back in shape. Was it picture perfect? No, but it was a far cry from what it was when we started. Well, I'm using my new mirror mount, by the way. I really like it. Well, anyway, old people are kind of, well, let me say this. Elderly people are a little different. This gentleman felt like he needed to come out in the yard, walking on his cane, and point stuff out to me that he wanted me to do over and above what what the job called for, and no extra pay. And I had already done his yard twice. Well, the third time I was there, he wanted to do the same thing. Before I get into that part, let me tell you this. The second time I was there, he had me walk around and he'd say, "Can you pick that up and put it on my patio? Well, can you pick that up and take it in my house for me? Well, can you pick this up and put it in my shed?" And I finally had to tell him, I said, with all due respect, that is not my job. I'm not here for that. I'm here to do your yard work. I'm here to trim your bushes, whatever else needs to be done in the yard. I'm not here to be your handyman or your helper. That's not in my job description. Well, the first time he did it, it was my second service. The first time he did this, I kind of accommodated him. And I was picking up boards, and I'm not talking sticks or limbs, I'm talking boards. And he had me picking up boxes, and I had to finally draw a line in the sand where he wanted me to take a box of magazines in his house that were probably that deep in the box. And I just finally told him that's not my responsibility. If you need to do that, you need to get one of your children to do it, or you need to get your house cleaner to do it. That is not my job. Well, he didn't like it too much. Well, the third time I went, I cut the yard. He come out, wanted to do the same thing. And he walked around the yard. He said, "Man, this yard really looks good." So I knew by that he was pleased with my work. Well, when we got back to the door of his house, he said, "Can you pick those leaves right there up?" And it was literally maybe a Walmart bag full of leaves. But I did not want to set a precedence for this guy. I did not want to go above and beyond every single time I was there, because if I did, he would expect it every single solitary time. And I told him, I said, "I'll get it next time I come." Well, obviously he didn't like that, because the next day he called me and told me he didn't want me to come back. And I was professional, but I was very stern. And I told him, if this had been a customer that had been with me for 20 years, and I do have some that have been with me that long, I'd have said, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And it's got nothing to do with the length of time, but it does. He hadn't proven himself to me yet. He hadn't proven he was going to be loyal to me yet. So I was there to do my job, and then I was there to move on to the next client. And if he had kept me on, he would have earned that trust and that loyalty, and I would have more than been happy to accommodate his request. But he called me the next day and told me he didn't want me to come back. And that was fine. I don't have a problem with that. But my question is, what would you guys do? I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm just saying, in that situation, what would you guys do? I told him flat out, I didn't owe him anything. I told him flat out I thought it was kind of petty for me to have only done his yard 3 times for him to, you know, call and cancel service the way he did. He did not say, would you be willing to come back and pick the leaves up? And, you know, because you didn't do it the other day when you were here. And I said, well, let me get through my routes this week, and I'll come by there and pick it up. I would have been more than happy to do that. He didn't do that. He fired me, Johnny, on the spot. And I was, you know, I was taken back, but I wasn't surprised, because, you know, this guy particularly, he wanted to walk around the yard and want me to pick up every blooming blasting thing in his yard. And that's not my job. Now, if it's something that's considered yard debris, like a limb out of a tree, or pine straw that's in the way, or something like that, yeah, I would deal with that. But these were boards, these were boxes, cereal boxes, boxes with magazines in them. That is not in my job description. That's not in what I agreed to do. And the thing is, he didn't want to pay any extra. And the second time I was there, I spent an hour and a half after. Now understand that, after I had already finished the job. I spent another hour and a half there doing this kind of stuff for this guy. And I finally told him, I said, I don't have time. I said, I've got other clients waiting on me. I've got to go. And he kind of acted like I peed in his cornflakes. And, you know, I was just sorry as I can be, but I have other clients that are waiting on me, and they expect me to be there just like he does. So what would you guys do in that situation? I was taken back when he called me and let me go, but I wasn't surprised. And the reason I wasn't surprised, because, you know, and if Flossie hasn't taught me anything else, she's taught me one thing. When somebody tells you they've had multiple service companies, that is a red flag. That is a major red flag. And I got a check, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go ahead and do the job, and we'll just see how things go. Well, now I know how things go. If you don't bend over backwards to accommodate him, he's not going to keep you. And what I want to know from you guys, I don't want your opinion, just tell me what you would do in that situation. Would you accommodate the person, or would you tell them to basically bite your butt and move on? And I know, you know, I had already made up my mind, if he continued to do that, I myself was going to tell him, you know, this is not what I signed on for. And if you can't allow me to come in and do your work and talk to you for a minute and have some good customer relations and collect the check, and because I don't bill people. I do not bill people. If I do the job, I expect to be paid right then. I don't wait for a month. I don't wait for 2 months or nothing like that. You pay me when the job's done. Just like when you go to McDonald's or Burger King, you don't walk away with your food until the bill's paid. And the same thing goes for me. When the job is done, I expect to be paid. But I collect the money and I move on to the next client. And I do good work. You've seen my work on this channel. I do fantastic work. And I'm not bragging, don't get me wrong. To God be the glory. Great things he has done. I don't take credit for it. But there comes a time when you have to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not doing that. So what would you guys do? I appreciate your input. This is Brian with Big South Outdoors TV, signing off. Peace out.